It looks like the bear is going to be talking this video. Apple's thinnest phone, the iPhone Air, up against Samsung's thinnest phone, the S25 Edge. Apparently thin is the new trend, okay? Which kind of hurts. I stopped going to the gym. But let's see which of these two thin phones win. That kind of rhymed. Let's get started. Please subscribe. Kicking things off with the cameras, the iPhone has a 48 megapixel camera that does take some incredible looking photos, I'm not gonna lie. But if I'm being honest, I think I prefer the photos out of the S25 Edge than I do with the iPhone, but just slightly. Impressively enough, Samsung somehow managed to cram a massive 200 megapixel camera sensor into their phone. But not only that, they have a secondary camera, which is my all-time favorite, the Ultrawide. Obviously, we can't compare the two since iPhone doesn't have any ultrawide lens or any extra lens for that matter. But come on, Apple, I'm saddened that the iPhone is only limited to one camera. As far as the selfie camera is concerned, sorry Samsung, but I think Apple here takes the win. I do really love the iPhone's selfie this year. In fact, I think it's the first time iPhone selfies have impressed me. The S25 Edge doesn't do a bad job by any means. I don't want you guys to think that, but I think Apple just takes the cake, especially with skin tones. What's cool is that all the iPhone 17 models this year have a square selfie sensor, which means you can take horizontal selfies while holding the phone vertically. This is huge because no longer do you have to hold your phone sideways to take a group photo with your arm taking up half the shot. Oh, by the way, if you're new here and you like no BS review videos, I just always say it how it is, then definitely consider subscribing. Moving on to the video, again, the S25 Edge does have an edge. I see what I did there. Because of its ultra-wide camera, which can obviously capture more of the scene, unlike the iPhone, which can only shoot in one focal length. The zoom seems to be okay on both phones, but let me know which one you like best. So as far as the camera goes, I do really like the iPhone's camera system this year. In fact, I mean, it really did surprise me, like way more than any other previous iPhone ever did. But I do just have to give the win over to the Samsung. No, not because I'm a Samsung fanboy. I'm not a fanboy of any company, but because of that extra camera, which lets, I mean, it unlocks a whole new world of photography, and it's just sad that, you know, it's not on the iPhone. I really do like that ultra-wide sensor. Now, why doesn't the iPhone have an ultra-wide sensor? Well, it's because whenever you try to make things very thin, especially with electronics, you're gonna have compromises. 5.6 millimeters on the iPhone and 5.8 millimeters on the S25 Edge. So for those 0.2 millimeters that Apple was chasing, not only did they compromise on the camera, but they also compromised on the speakers, or speaker. I say speaker because there is only one. There's only one speaker in this phone. So all of your sounds, such as whenever you're scrolling TikTok, whenever you're calling someone over speakerphone, everything that you're doing, all the sound is coming from the earpiece. There is no bottom speaker. So it sounds bad. Now let's talk battery life. 3,900 milliamp hours on Samsung and 3,100 milliamp hours on iPhone. However, in my testing, I'm actually really surprised how well the iPhone is holding up, considering it has, what, 800 milliamp hours less than the S25 Edge? Because in my testing, both phones lasted pretty much the same, like 6 hours to 6.5 hours, depending on what you're doing. I don't play games on my phone, so if you do, you can obviously expect your battery to drain a lot faster. But I'm really surprised with not just the iPhone, but both of these phones. It's not bad for ultra-thin devices. As far as charging speeds go, the iPhone Air can charge at around 20 watts compared to 25 watts. In practice, both phones can achieve 50% in around 30 minutes. Now, the charger I personally prefer is this one from Taurus called the FlexLine 67-watt charger. Not only is it 67 watts, enough for fast charging, but it also has a foldable plug as well as a retractable 1 meter long USB-C cable. Simply unwind it when you need it, and then just, once you're done, wind it back up and it will magnetically attach. On the side, you also get an extra USB-C port so you can fast charge 2 devices at the same time safely thanks to its smart temperature control chip, which actively manages power output based on over voltage or over current. It also has intelligent device detection. It detects different devices and distributes optimal power to each port, making it super efficient, and it protects your phone. Now, if you guys do want to pick this up, I'll go ahead and have a link in the bio. Comfort is of course a big deal for many people, and here's where the iPhone, well, I prefer it. Not because it's lighter, because it's not, but because of its build quality. The way the iPhone's corners just kind of slowly melt around the phone, it's a much comfortable device to feel. I mean, even when you're doing something like moving your thumb from the screen to the side, I mean, there is no sharp at all. That's actually insane. I don't even know how they did that, but it just feels so good. There's no rough edges anywhere on the phone, like anywhere. It feels like a bar of soap, but in the good way. But the S25 Edge, it's not uncomfortable, it's just not as comfortable. The edges are a bit more rougher around the edges, right, as they say. So I don't know. Yeah, I prefer the iPhone here. But now let's talk performance. Both phones come with the same LPDDR5X 12GB of RAM. The iPhone can be upgraded to 1TB, whereas the S25 Edge can be upgraded to 512GB. In everyday performance, both phones, I mean, they scream. I think both iPhone and Samsung fanboys can agree that the A19 Pro and the Snapdragon 8 Elite are absolute powerhouses, and it's even funny to compare them. I mean, what can I say? No stutters, no bugs, no glitches. I mean, we're not in 2010 anymore. These phones, no matter which of these two you buy, they're going to be monsters when it comes to performance, of course. But I will give Samsung a little bit higher credit than Apple when it comes to performance, mainly because with the S25 Edge, you're getting the full Snapdragon 8 Elite chip. I mean, it's the same exact chip as on all the S25 models. However, with the iPhone Air, you're getting the A19 Pro, but it's not the same A19 Pro as the Pro phones are. You are missing one GPU core on the Air compared to the other Pro phones with the A19 Pro chip. That sounded so confusing. In other words, this is not a true full flagship chip, and this is. There we go. I just summed it up in like 2 seconds. Did you subscribe yet? So what about the thermals? How hot do these phones get? Well, in my experience, the S25 Edge actually beats out the iPhone, which is not surprising. The A19 Pro is it's a beast. It can and will heat this phone up. It actually does get pretty hot to the touch. So I think it's a good thing Apple went over to aluminum on their Pro phones. But yeah, anyway, I just feel that the S25 Edge doesn't heat up as quick as the iPhone. Do I notice it affecting any sort of performance? No, but it might affect your battery in the long term. So what about AI? Well, again, this is not really fair, and it's not because Samsung is like the world leader in AI. No, it's just that Apple doesn't know what they're doing. Apple promised us so many great AI features like 2 years ago, and we're just now starting to see some of them. Meanwhile, on Samsung's side, not only do we have a ton of AI features, but we can use them right now. No waiting for updates that may or may not come. The ability to change your photo any way you want is amazing, and the Now bar, which makes looking at your day more fun and useful. Apple really needs to step up their AI because, I mean, even the object eraser is bad. So what about that big beautiful display? Well, the S25 Edge does have a slightly bigger display coming in at 6.7 compared to 6.5. Personally, I think both of them are just fine sizes, but I would just like to talk about how both phones have incredibly thin borders. I mean, they both look fantastic. However, the iPhone does have a distraction that the S25 Edge doesn't have. That island. That damn island. The iPhone does have a bit brighter display, 3000 nits compared to 2600, and I can't believe I'm about to say this, but the iPhone has a feature that the Samsung has, but not this Samsung. An anti-reflective coating. Yes, the difference is absolutely massive, especially in person. So I would like to thank Apple for putting in the anti-reflective display, not just on the Pro or the Pro and Pro Max, but for all of the iPhone 17 models. This is huge, but it's not as good as on the S25 Ultra. The S25 Ultra still obliterates the iPhone when it comes to that anti-reflective coating. Whatever Samsung did, hey, Samsung, please share it with Apple. The short of it is, watching movies and enjoying your content will honestly look great on both of these 120Hz panels. However, I do have to choose the iPhone here for being slightly brighter, having more HDR formats like Dolby Vision, and for the fact that it has that anti-reflective display, connectivity, and extras. The iPhone does have a newer Bluetooth chip inside, so it will add some better reliability. The S25 Edge supports ultra-wideband, however, the iPhone supports ultra-wideband Gen 2. The S25 Edge supports Qi 2 charging at 15 watts, and the Air supports Qi 2 charging at 20 watts. The S25 Edge has reverse wireless charging at 4.5 watts, perfect for accessories. The iPhone, well, it doesn't have that function. S25 Edge supports 5G millimeter wave, and the Air does not. So which phone is the better phone? Which phone should, which one should you buy? Well, personally, if you take a look at price, the iPhone Air is $100 cheaper. However, Samsung's S25 Edge, you can get it for like as low as $500 with a trade-in. Link in the description, by the way, if you guys do want to take advantage of that. So obviously, it would be a much better deal if it was $500, right? But if we're comparing MSRP to MSRP, the iPhone being $100 cheaper, I think I gotta pick the S25 Edge. The extra camera, the stereo speakers, and still having a super thin device while also having the same all-day battery. I mean, I can't complain. So which phone do you guys prefer and why? I want to know, so let me know down below in the comments. I just want to see what most of my viewers are using and what they prefer, just so I can make better videos in the future. And if you guys enjoyed today's video, definitely click that like button. And if you're new here, and like I said, you like no BS tech reviews, definitely subscribe. And as always, this was Mark from Mark's Tech. Adios.